Welcome to a special SkaredCast battle report. Today we have Raf, also known as ELDAR CORSAIR. Hello, sir. Nice to see you.
See you.
We're going to have our first inter-channel battle report. We're playing Relic as primary, Big Guns Never Tire as secondary, at Games Workshop Langstaff in Toronto, Canada. We have deployment going on. I deployed my army like this. I have a 5-man warriors with a raider, 5-man warriors with Vect and raider, the Trueborn. I have 3 units of warriors and venoms, the 2 ravagers, 3 Eldar jet bikes with the Farseer who rolled precog, guide, and prescience. And then I'm outflanking my warwalkers, even if my opponent's warlord trait gives him -1 to my reserves, and my warlord trait is command trait. Vect has 12-inch leadership bubble for everybody. And in retrospect, we have ELDAR CORSAIR's army in all its glory. We have 3 units of 10 Guardians in Wave Serpents with scatter lasers, cannons, and holofields. We have 3 Warwalkers with scatter lasers, unit of 9 Warp Spiders, unit of 8 Warp Spiders, and a Mantle of the Laughing God Farseer. In reserve, there are 2 3-man Eldar jet bike units. Primary, of course, is the Relic, which is on this side of the macro cannon. Secondary is Big Guns Never Tire. We have 1 objective back here, 1 objective back here, 1 objective there, and 1 objective on the far corner. Okay, so after this, we'll be back. It is Night Fight, turn 1, and it is Dark Eldar, turn 1. Stay tuned.
No, I do not steal it. Dark Eldar's going first. Good luck, my friend. Good luck.
Have a good one, sir. Dark Eldar, turn 1. I guided this Ravager, I prescienced that Ravager, and I put precognition on my Farseer, so he's re-rolling his saves. I moved everything up, just like that. I put 1 hull point on a Wave Serpent, he passed lots of his saves, and I killed 1 Warp Spider. Okay, we're moving on to Eldar, turn 1. Eldar, turn 1. We had all the Eldar move up very aggressively, kill that Raider, Vect and his entire unit with the Warp Spiders, and taking it down with the Wave Serpents. We had 1 Venom die here from the Warp Spiders that jumped back there. We had that Raider die and the Venom explode from the Warwalkers and the other Wave Serpent, knocking both units out with the Ravager up on the hill. And now my Warwalkers, we'll see if they come in. They do not. We'll be back after Dark Eldar turn 2. Will I be able to salvage something from that bloodbath? We shall see. Dark Eldar turn 2 moved up, shot both Ravagers into the Warwalkers, killed 2, put 1 hull point on the other. Farseer jumped out, tried to charge in. He did 1 penetrating hit and failed to explode the Wave Serpent with his Wraith Blade. He's got precognition on him. I killed 2 more Warp Spiders out of that unit with the Jet Bike's Blade Veining, and I brought this unit down to 6 from 9 with Venom shooting. He was able to make some saves. So we're moving on to Eldar turn 2. Will the little unit of Jet Bikes show up? Raf is going to roll, ELDAR CORSAIR is going to roll for his 2 units to see if they show up.
1.
They both do.
Both do. Okay.
Okay, fantastic. We're moving on to Eldar turn 2. Eldar turn 2. All the Eldar moved up, shot a lot. My Farseer is fine with precog. The Warp Spiders over here blew up that Ravager with guide. 1 Wave Serpent blew up my Trueborn Venom, killing 2 of the Trueborn. 1 is fleeing. The Mantle of the Laughing God Farseer boosted up here to start causing some havoc in my backfield. The 1 Walker over there wrecked that Venom, and they got out in the bottom. We had both units of jet bikes coming on, firing onto units of warriors. We had 1 unit of warriors down to 1 man, and another unit of warriors down to no men, while the Warp Spiders fired into the Ravager, and it's still alive, but it can only snap shoot this turn. Then we had all the Guardians get out of their rides to take on objectives. ELDAR CORSAIR needs to roll to see if that objective blows up. We're going to do that on camera. On a 1, it explodes. It doesn't. Okay, and now I'm going to roll to see if my Warwalkers show up. This is turn 3. They still need a 4+. They do. Fantastic. We'll see where they show up right after this. The Wave Serpent Eldar cementing their victory after Eldar turn 3. We had the Wave Serpents move up, blow up the Scatter Warwalkers. This unit of jet bikes killed another jet bike, charged in, lost a jet bike to Overwatch. That model is still alive, but he's just 1 man. The models on the Relic died to combined shooting and charging of the Farseer and the Guardians, and the Trueborn died to the warp spiders, while the last troop that was on here, there's one model left on that building. All other members were killed by the wave serpent. The Farseer lost 2 wounds after rerolls, after failing to kill the wave serpent last turn. And now we're moving on to Dark Eldar, turn 4. Things do look grim. We shall see, or shall they be swallowed up in a tide of red and crimson? We'll see. Dark Eldar, turn 4. Cabalite Warrior ended up charging into the jet bikes to try and help that combat, but they stayed tied in combat. The Blaster went for the Hail Mary shot, tried to take out the Jet Seer with one hit and 1 wound from the Blaster, but the save was passed. My Jet Seer finally killed the tank he's been charging for 3 turns straight, and finally got that last hull point off. Yet a little too late in the game. Okay, we're moving on to Eldar, turn 4. Turn 4, Eldar. The Farseer finally fell down after failing a reroll invul save against a Blade Storm from the other Farseer. Very poetic. We had the Warp Spiders jump into the combat and kill the Cabalite Warrior, forcing the jet bike to take him around test, which he failed, and he ran away. So, at the end of 4th turn, with 1 model left on the board, the Dark Eldar are defeated. ELDAR CORSAIR doesn't have Relic. He also has Secondary with 1 objective over there and 1 objective over here, with that one to nobody and that one at the back. The jet bikes would have just kind of moved on if the game continued. So thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned for the Tactical Corner. It's been an absolute blast.
Thank you. Thanks for the game.
Any last comments after the game?
Definitely that second turn really kind of set the tone. First turn of shooting of mine, that really did, it worked. And then where I blew up a lot of stuff, I mean, it sort of set the tone. I thought you could still pull it in afterwards, because if your shooting had continued to kind of like do well, I think you would have had me. But no, man, it's you know, some good dice on our side. You know, it definitely made it a lot easier. So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot for the game. It's been an absolute blast. We've been wanting to do this for quite some time, so it's been really fun. Make sure you guys check out ELDAR CORSAIR's channel for anything Eldari. He also has some Necrons and some Grey Knights that he sometimes brings out for games, and I believe he's thinking of starting some Gribbly Tyrannid action. So we'll get started. Thanks a lot. Make sure you leave comments, subscribe if you like it, like if you really like it, and whatnot. Check out the blog and podcast and Facebook page. Cheers. Have a good one. Hello and welcome to another Tactical Corner. So we went down to Games Workshop Langstaff. Fantastic little location, lots of great looking terrain. We set up the board as equally as possible, considering they didn't have that much terrain available. Anyway, we got started. ELDAR CORSAIR had a fantastic list, very well thought out. The Wave Serpents do most of the damage, especially against a Dark Eldar army that's so fragile yet can hit so hard. My first turn Gambit did not pay off. I moved up and was unable to do any damage to any of the Wave Serpents. I needed to kill at least 1 in order to cut down that firepower coming back at me. It didn't help that in his first turn, his Warp Spiders got incredibly lucky and moved up at incredible speed and blowing up most of my transportation options, as well as forcing Vect to lose his Shadow Field so early on in the game. His reserves coming on didn't really hamper my game plan in general, but they did destroy a couple of my scoring units that I was hoping to use later in the game. While the Warp Spiders did put incredible pressure on the center board, I was unable to really get any sort of foothold on my second turn, which was a key turn, as that Farseer that charged into the Wave Serpent was unable to do any damage. This allowed the Guardians, the meat and potatoes of his list, to really put some more damage on my army, put a lot of pressure on the objectives, while the Wave Serpents were able to then move out and just cement that victory for him in terms of a tactical victory. On my part, I actually made a grand mistake. I split up my army when I should have picked one side of the macro cannon, preferably the left side, and I should have hit it with everything I had instead of splitting my army in 2, giving him the opportunity to focus on one section of the army and rip it to shreds while the other section was otherwise engaged. This then allowed the Farseer to get into the middle of my army, and even if I would have been able to do anything about it, the Mantle of the Laughing God Farseer would have prevented me from getting the primary objective, which was the relic. And that put me between a rock and a hard place in terms of tactics. So towards the end of the game, I was actually just trying to salvage as much face as possible in terms of just having some fun and killing the Wave Serpent that I was really trying to kill. Now, when my Warwalkers did show up, they showed up on the side I had hoped they weren't going to show up. So they did the most that they could, killing some scoring units. And, of course, they died after just one volley of shooting. I was hoping to be able to use them later in the game to really start tipping the tide in my favor. All in all, it was an absolute fantastic game. I learned a lot from my actual development of the Vect army that I've been working on over the past 10 games. This would have been game 11 out of the 20 game series. And it really taught me that I need to maybe look at something in terms of adding some more flesh when it comes to scoring units. And I've been tinkering with a few different ideas that see me actually adding my own set of Wave Serpents and a Guardian unit. I want to thank ELDAR CORSAIR. Thanks a lot for having the game. It's fantastic, and I will be linking up to his channel down below.